What's up, guys? Today we're playing Epic 7, and today we're going to challenge the Great Mortalix in episode number 3. Mort, the Dragon Stripper, appears at least 3 times so far in this episode. Once was a half battle where you have to take him to 40% HP, then he disappears. Another time on the 4th map in 4-9, and another time on 8 special, 8S-8. Now, this strategy that I'm going to use has worked for all 3 of these battles, and we're only using free gear. So let's go ahead. We're going to look at our heroes and then go into the fight. The Great Mort is a very challenging boss in episode 3, and you have to face him multiple times. So it's a very good idea to kind of get used to what his abilities are and how we can then beat him. If we look at his passive ability, he's going to have reduced damage from non-criticals and critical hit. That means that you're not going to be able to burn him down as easily as some of the other bosses. Also, when his HP hits 40%, now he's going to activate his dragon form. This is going to happen 1 time per battle, but keep ahead of this because if you don't have enough healing, then he might wipe your team. If we look at his other passive ability, Dragon Armor, when he gets hit with a non-critical hit, he's going to dispel 1 debuff. This is very important for you people using Spectre Tenebria or someone like Curus, because he's going to constantly be removing those poisons, and now it's not going to be as effective as it normally would be. We also see here that he has this thing called Berserk. It goes up to 4 times, increase attack, defense, and speed. When he hits level 4, he's going to activate Dragon Form again, no matter what, right? No matter how many cooldown he has on that, he's going to activate it, and then now he's going to hit you very hard. So what do we need to do? We need to bring in heroes who can remove buffs. That way, hopefully, we won't hit that 4th level of dragon form too many times, right? Unfortunately, they do have immunity to cannot be buffed debuff. If he didn't have this, we can bring in a hero like Azaria. She would remove his buff and then hit him with this. Now he has 2-3 turns where we're able to hit him without stacking up. But unfortunately, we can't do that. So we have to bring in at least 2 heroes who can remove the buff. Now, Adventurer Ras has a buff removal on his S1, so we're going to be utilizing him, and that will also come in handy when he grants himself a barrier on Absolute Dignity. That way, hopefully, we can burn him down as fast as possible without triggering too many times. So let's go ahead and go into our team. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of gear. We're only on day number 26 of this account, so we're using those free gears that we got from doing the hunt challenges. And I think I've done Golem and I've done the Wyvern as well by this point. So we have Commander Arena. She's an amazing hero, and we're using her all the way through Abyss. We're also using her in a ton of content, and she is just blowing through episode number 3. Absolutely fantastic. She is on our free attack set with Daydream Joker, and I don't have any points in her skill tree yet. Once we are able to max out her skill tree, she's going to be even better, and we're going to be taking her into the fire in Expedition as well, so that'll be very good for us. I'm using Angelic Montmorency. She has a maxed out plus 30 skill tree, which is important because if you're going to use Montmorency, she needs that extra bit of healing. I don't really have any artifacts yet. She's using the Sun, which is from the Summer side story, but she would work really well on Rod of Amaryllis. That's my favorite. She also works well on Magahar's Tome, and if you don't have that, then you can possibly also use Shamadra's Staff. This would work well as well because it'll increase the healing by 30%, which is very important for her. But she's going to be our main healer, and I really like to use Angelic Montmorency. She's fantastic into Guild War, and she's fantastic through a lot of the episodes. Next up, we have Adventurer Wrath. He also has a plus 30 skill tree, which is very important. We're going to be using him all the way through Abyss, and he's going to work well here as well. He has an ability to remove a buff onto his S1. 75% chance is pretty high, so we want to have some effectiveness into him. The Mortalix only has 50% effect resist, so anything around about 35 or higher effectiveness should be pretty good. Now I'm going to use him as well with the Aureus artifact, which I'm going to pretty much leave on him for the rest of his life, and he's going to do very well here. Again, he's on another free set here. He's on the other HP set that I have. And then we have Azaria. I don't even have an artifact for her. Pretty much anything will work. If you want to stack up something like Song of Stars, I think that would work. You could also use, whatever you need to either increase her stats or increase her effectiveness. But again, we want some effectiveness onto her. If we look at her S3, this is really what I want to do. It's going to dispel all buffs and decrease defense, hopefully bringing us some more damage. Unable to be buff. Debuff does not work here, but she works very well in this type of situation. You could also bring in an extra damage dealer, maybe someone who can remove debuffs, and then rely on that Adventurer Ras S1. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start soul burning that Ras S2 to try and burn down the boss as fast as possible. But if you're bringing two damage dealers, you won't need to do that. Instead, you'll use the S1 on Adventurer Ras to make sure that you have the max chance to keep removing that buff. Here we go, the Great Mortalix. Man, he is tough, isn't he? Now, what we see here is he landed blind on everyone, just about. So we don't want to try too hard to do any damage until we get this blind debuff removed. He does get the stun again. Oh man, it's so tough to get that stun on you. Now we have removed the blind debuff, and what we want to do is try to remove his first couple of stacks. We don't get it, and that's okay. We have another shot when we come to Azaria. Now, I don't have any skill ups in Azaria. She would be a lot better if I did, but I think she'll work here. So there we go. We did end up removing his very first stack, and now let's go ahead and we're going to wake up Ras. Now, part of my strategy is to soul burn his S2 to get more damage. Now, unfortunately, what happens here is he does not crit, and then he doesn't get that debuff, the defense break debuff, to do more damage. So if you have another debuffer, then maybe what you do is that you just S1 with Ras over and over again and keep trying to do that dispel, right? Let's go ahead and get some damage down. Lorena, she is just so good into a ton of content. I like her quite a lot. We have that blind again. It makes it very difficult for us to hit this boss and remove those buffs, right? What we see is Montmorency, she has a chance to activate that S2 again, but we didn't get it here, and so we get that miss. Not great. Now we see the 4 stacks comes up and he does dragon form. Man, it hits just so hard, and that's a reason why we were saving the S3 on Ras just in case we need that extra bit of healing. Let's go ahead. We're going to get some healing onto this Lorena so she doesn't die. And then let's hope that we get one of our dispels onto that buff from Mortalix. 19,000. Man, she does so much. So much. We get the crit. Oh man, big hit, big hit. So this is a problem for us because he activated Dragon Form, took us below the 40%. That was a mistake on my part, and I'm probably not going to end up recovering from this. Now I have the S3 on Azaria. I could use it and have the defense break, but I want to save it to remove those stacks from him on the next round. As long as you don't hit Azaria, I think we're going to be okay. There we go. Now he doesn't have stacks again, so we're just going to have an S1. He's doing so much damage. Can we remove it? We do. That is great. Keeping those stacks off of him, very important. And you see again that we don't need to use the S3 onto Azaria. We also don't really have any skills to reset, so we're just going to S1. One thing that we could do is we could activate the Archie here, and that would help out a lot. But he ends up killing Lorena, and now we have to go to our backup friend. Now this guy is only like level 61 or so, so he's not a very high level Landy, but Landies are really good. If you can utilize your friend's hero, go ahead, especially if your like Lorena dies, then that would be very important for us so that we can keep going and keep putting damage down on Mort. If I had someone like maybe Tamarin as a friend, now the problem with that would be I wouldn't have any damage once my Lorena dies. So very important to bring in a damage dealer here. I think a good one to bring in would be probably Spectre Tenebria, right? But I don't have her. I think you could also bring in something like an Apocalypse Ravi. That would work out well here as well. Now, my idea is to try to get a defense break and then burn him down with the Landy on his next turn, but I don't get it. I don't land the crit, and then he just removes it anyway. But I think we're pretty safe here. He has very little HP. If I had just timed that 40% a little bit better, my Lorena would have lived, and it would have been a pretty clean run. Now we reset onto the S2. That's going to be a hit, and now we're all done.